Okay. If you're a parent today, you definitely know this feeling. You're uh, wading through this digital world with your kids, trying to balance all the amazing tools and learning opportunities against, well, the genuine concerns about safety, distraction, everything. It can feel, frankly, overwhelming. How do you stay mindful? How do you set boundaries that stick, without becoming the bad guy or shutting down their curiosity? So today we're doing a deep dive. We've gathered a whole stack of expert sources, research papers, safety guides, psychological insights. Our mission to cut right through that noise and give you clear, practical strategies for safety, for boundaries, and finding some actual balance at home.
Exactly. And we've basically boiled down all that material into, let's say, four key pillars we need to look at. First up, setting those physical time and space boundaries. That's crucial. Then we'll get into the core safety rules for being online. After that, and this is really important, we look at the parents' role modeling behavior, communication, and finally, we'll zoom out a bit to the big picture, building that balance between the digital and the real world and thinking about their digital footprint long term. Hashtag tag setting the physical boundaries, healthy screen time guidelines.
Okay, let's unpack that first one straight away because screen time numbers,
Hmm.
that's where so much confusion and, let's be honest, guilt comes in for parents. The research, interestingly, seems pretty united on the youngest kids, doesn't it?
It really is, yeah. For kids aged, say, 2 to 5, the consensus is quite firm. Try to limit that recreational screen time to about 1 hour a day.
1 hour, okay.
But here's the key distinction the sources make. It really should be high quality educational content during that hour. It's not just any screen time. It needs to be, intentional.
Intentional, I like that.
And the emphasis is less on just hitting the 1 hour mark and more on what's happening during that time.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this really interesting concept called co-viewing.
Co-viewing, right. So not just letting them watch alone.
Exactly. It's not just supervision, it's the parent actively viewing or playing alongside the child.
Okay, why is that so important according to the research?
Well, think about it. When you sit with a young child and you ask questions or comment like, oh, why do you think that character did that? Or what color is that? You're actually providing what psychologists call cognitive scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
Yeah,
Like building blocks for their understanding.
precisely. You're turning what could be a passive activity into an active learning moment. You're using the screen, believe it or not, as a tool for connection, for development, instead of letting it be, a digital babysitter.
That makes a lot of sense. Using it as a teaching opportunity, not just a time seller. Okay, but here's where things seem to shift quite a bit. Why do the guidelines seem to loosen up so much once kids hit school age? That strict 1 hour limit kind of fades away.
It does, because the developmental goal changes. For older kids, school-aged and teenagers, the focus shifts away from simple limits toward helping them develop self-regulation skills.
Okay, so it's less about us policing the clock.
Exactly. The sources suggest moving away from rigid time tracking and instead setting consistent boundaries. And these boundaries should really be rooted in your specific family values, their school demands, their other activities.
So it becomes more about the context, like is screen time pushing out homework or sleep or family dinner or sports?
That's it, precisely. If the answer is yes, then the boundary needs adjusting, whether they've been on for 30 minutes or 3 hours. It's about teaching them to recognize and manage that balance over time, not just obeying a timer.
Right, teaching them the why.
And crucially, to make those boundaries actually work, you really need to use the tools available. The research heavily emphasizes using parental controls and the screen time management features built into most devices now.
So leaning on the tech itself.
Yes. It's not just for spying. It's for setting up agreed upon schedules, blocking certain times, reinforcing the boundaries automatically. Don't just rely on nagging or willpower, yours or theirs. Let the technology actually help enforce the plan you've set together. Hashtag tag the core safety rules, online behavior, and digital citizenship.
Okay, so if we've got a handle on the time and the rhythm, that leads us right into the what are they doing online? And safety here is, well, it's everything, isn't it?
It's paramount. Absolutely. And the good news is the core safety rules that kids need to internalize are actually quite straightforward, but they are non-negotiable.
So what are the big ones?
Rule number one, always. Never, ever give out personal information online. We're talking addresses, phone numbers, the name of their school, none of it.
And using screen names instead of real names.
Strongly recommended. It's just a basic layer of privacy, a default setting they should get used to.
Okay. What about passwords? This one feels tricky. We tell them never share passwords.
Right. That's the standard advice. Never share with friends, anyone online.
But what about with parents? Doesn't that create confusion? Never share.
except with me.
That is a really great point, and the research actually addresses the specific friction. The strategic way to frame it is this. The rule is no sharing passwords. Full stop. The exception, sharing only with a parent, isn't presented as breaking the rule.
Okay.
It's presented as a condition of having access to the device or platform in the first place. It frames parental oversight not as spying, but as part of the safety agreement. It reinforces that you, the parent, are the ultimate safety net in the shared digital space.
Ah, I see. It reframes it as part of the deal for access. That makes sense.
And that connects directly to maybe the most critical real-world rule.
Yeah.
Absolutely never agree to meet someone in person that they only know from online unless a parent has explicitly approved it and is supervising. That has to be crystal clear.
Crystal clear. Okay. But SACI isn't just about blocking things, is it? It's also about how they act online digital citizenship.
Exactly. It's about behavior. We need to talk openly with them about privacy settings on different platforms, about the reality and impact of cyberbullying.
And critically, empowering them to report issues, right?
Absolutely critical. They need to know, without any doubt, that if they encounter anything rude or mean or threatening or just plain weird online, they should come to a trusted adult immediately. No shame, no fear of getting in trouble. They need to feel safe telling you.
Creating that safe space to talk.
Which relies heavily on what some sources call the parent's watchful eye. And that doesn't just mean software. It means active involvement. One simple rule of thumb mentioned is the kitchen counter test.
Okay, what's that?
Basically, if the device, phone, tablet, laptop isn't somewhere visible, like the kitchen counter or the living room, maybe it shouldn't be in use. The idea is to keep devices out of private spaces, like bedrooms, especially for younger kids. It encourages transparency.
Makes sense. And the other side of that watchful eye isn't just physical location, but actually talking to them,
Right.
being digitally present with them.
Yes. Regularly asking them about their online world. Who are they talking to? What games are trending? What cool new app did they find? What challenges are they facing? That kind of genuine interest and involvement, the research shows, is far more effective long-term than just relying on tracking software alone.
Hashtag tag the parent's role, mindful parenting and communication.
Which leads us perfectly into the next big piece. The parent's role, our homework, basically. Because if we want any of these rules about balance or safety to actually stick, the sources are unanimous.
Well,
We have to model the behavior ourselves.
lead by example. We have to demonstrate healthy device habits. We need to show them that we prioritize real-world relationships over constantly checking our screens.
It sounds so simple when you say it like that.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we all know it's often the hardest part. I mean, how can we realistically enforce a no phones at the dinner table rule if we're sneaking glances at work emails under the table?
Guilty as charged sometimes. I think we all are. Right. If a parent is constantly distracted, interrupting conversations to check notifications, the unspoken message is loud and clear. The phone is more important than the person right in front of you. So mindful parenting really has to start with us consciously putting our own devices down.
Okay, but what's the biggest roadblock there? What did the sources say makes this so hard for parents to do consistently?
I think the biggest thing is the lack of our own clear digital off switch. Work bleeds into home life. Social media is always on. The research suggests parents benefit hugely from setting their own boundaries first, like designating specific tech-free times or zones in the house for everyone, including adults.
So structure for ourselves, not just for them.
Exactly. Without that structure, it just looks like hypocrisy, and kids have incredibly sensitive detectors for that.
That they do, yeah.
Okay, so beyond modeling, what about communication style? How we talk about these rules matters, right? Oh, immensely. You can't just lay down the law like a dictator. That might work short term, maybe, but it doesn't build understanding. The key is to set clear boundaries, yes, but also explain the reasons behind them. Calmly, clearly.
Helping them understand the why.
Yes. We have this rule about not sharing locations because it helps keep you safe from strangers. Explaining the rationale fosters cooperation. It teaches them the underlying principle, which helps them make good decisions when you're not around.
Right, aiming for cooperation and understanding, not just blind obedience. That feels much more sustainable long-term for developing their own judgment.
Absolutely. And part of that is active listening, really tuning in when they talk about their online games, their friends, their frustrations. Showing genuine interest and respect for their digital life makes them far more receptive when you need to discuss the rules or concerns.
It builds trust.
Exactly. And connecting this to the bigger picture, that trust and supportive communication are the absolute bedrock. especially when they encounter difficult things like cyberbullying or seeing inappropriate content or feeling pressured by peers online. If they know they can come to you without judgment, that you'll support them, they're far more likely to follow the rules you set together and, crucially, to come to you immediately when something goes wrong. That supportive safety net makes all the difference. Hashtag building balance and the digital footprint.
Okay, so let's talk about the ultimate goal here. Making sure technology is a tool that helps them grow, rather than something that kind of takes over their development. How do we actively build that real-world focus and those crucial social skills?
Well, a big part of it is consciously cultivating focus away from screens. The sources really push for a structured commitment to offline activities. Think sports, music, art, reading actual physical books, dedicated family game nights.
Things that require sustained attention.
Precisely. These aren't just nice-to-have hobbies. They function as important counterweights to the constant stimulation and potential for short attention spans that can come with a lot of digital media. They build that focus muscle.
And how does that connect to social skills? Is there a risk that too much digital interaction weakens real-world social abilities?
There can be, yes. The research suggests we need to actively guide kids towards balancing online interactions with face-to-face relationships. Digital chat is fast, it's convenient, but it often lacks the nuance,
Body language, tone of voice.
Exactly. All those subtle cues that are so vital for developing empathy and sophisticated social intelligence, we need to make sure they're getting plenty of practice with the complexities of real-world, real-time social interaction, not just text and emojis.
That makes sense. Okay, a practical tool that came up in the sources, kind of summarizing a lot of this, was the idea of a family media plan. What does that actually look like?
Think of it as a written agreement or charter for the family. It makes the implicit explicit. It's where you formally outline things like tech-free zones, maybe the dinner table, bedrooms after a certain hour, where devices get charged overnight, ideally not in bedrooms.
So it puts all those boundaries we talked about down on paper.
Right, and it also explicitly balances screen time allowances with expectations for offline activities, homework, chores, exercise, family time. It makes the whole structure clear and agreed upon.
A great checklist item. Now, this brings up a longer-term issue, doesn't it? The future implications. What about the digital footprint?
Ah, yes. That's huge, and something we need to start talking about early. It's not just a tech issue. It's fundamentally about their reputation and future self. We have to educate kids about the permanence of online posts.
What goes online
Mm-hmm.
often stays online. Forever.
Pretty much. Emphasizing that a silly comment, a questionable photo, something shared even in a private chat today, could potentially resurface and impact college applications, job prospects, relationships years down the line. It's about thinking before they post.
Understanding that permanence really changes the stakes, doesn't it? It encourages that pause.
It should. And related to that, parents need to be proactive about understanding the platforms their kids are using before they use them. Check the ratings, read the terms of service, understand the safety features or lack thereof of the games, apps, and social media sites they're interested in.
You can't really guide them if you don't understand the environment yourself.
Exactly. You need to know what you're dealing with. Hashtag tag outro.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like thoughtful digital parenting really comes down to maybe 3 core things working together. First, clear physical rules about time and place, but rooted in context, not just arbitrary numbers.
Mm-hmm. Consistent boundaries.
Second, those strict, non-negotiable online safety practices, privacy, passwords, knowing who you're talking to.
The core safety net.
And third, underpinning it all is open, supportive communication and, crucially, modeling the behavior we want to see from the adults in the house.
Leading by example, absolutely.
The goal, it seems, isn't about banning tech. It's about creating this safe, mindful, supportive environment where kids learn to navigate both the digital and the physical world effectively. And consistency really seems key to building that trust.
That trust is the foundation, you're right. And maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on based on what the sources consistently stress. They all emphasize this critical need to stay updated. Stay updated with the latest digital trends, the newest apps, the potential threats. Because think about how fast everything changes. New platforms, AI tools evolving daily. The knowledge you gain today, it's incredibly valuable, but it's really just the starting point. Perhaps the most crucial strategy isn't any single rule you set today, but rather an ongoing commitment, a commitment to keep learning, to stay proactive about understanding these new digital environments as they emerge. So the question I'd leave you with is this. What new platform, what new trend, or what potential new risk will you research this week to make sure you stay one step ahead?